Danko Akufo-Addo de ahye phobia omadane omo say let me give this preamble osofo meti hey and onyam kese a President Nana Addo Danko Akufo-Addo de ahye me ne mabusua. I will not go and entangle myself in any corrupt situation. I think say corruption should be punished by law. So obi a corrupter yemfa no nko gina mrenim. And that has been the track record of the New Patriotic Party and our government. President Akufo-Addo baye and Professor Mills ne former President Mahama administrations na corruption wo he prosecuted the cases. Entina Maslock CEO and now were convicted. Only her, she is a fugitive because yasishan krata di na kojina mrenim ama mrano ni nedi abuano fo. Entina the former board of National Communications Authority NCA yedi omu kojina mrenim ama mrani omudi ye convicte ye. Entina venture capital under the previous administration emrano yedu omuko jina mrenim. There is no shortcut in dealing with corruption. If you have the evidence, it ought to be prosecuted.
Now all the examples near people in the former administration
entina
in Momo no
entina meka ba say encrofo the cases bi aba aban refer to one agency or the other, whether a shrajo, whether a police CID, whether a office of special prosecutor. Yoko ni nyina references ko unim say Northern Development Authority issues ba ho under this administration before court and now wonya away. So it defeats
motorcycles been a year.
Yeah, so it defeats the conversation about reference to only cases under previous administration. Now under this administration, so can about so obi a corrupt and answer there is a scandal. Near yenhwehwemu na hwe ni ho a untimi nkase yenko prosecute. Let me give you a typical example. Me nua panyin Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa of the NDC, member of parliament for Northern. Na say uto ho no akofa krata bi aba. Said there is a scandal. Also for mote ha. Ena bra panyin kofa krata aba yese and aban we yakoton ensase parks and gardens for ensase. Me say I won't comment on any new paper or so-called expose without Ghana media no holding it to account. Said this is the explanation and narrative of Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources diaba. I say anyama wo see a lease under this government, the history, the leases were done under NDC, former President John Dramani Mahama administration in 2015 and 2016. The honorable thing would have been say, opinion beba beka say, mena mekaye, nanso nyame anim in the face of evidence ebia I was misled into Ghana for momfa nkyeye na ochina okofa bibi foforo ba yaka say there was good intentions behind it, goodwill. He was only misled. Now the evidence ba ye chere say sa documents or the ba na no kura bi anim no. Mama no kwaya ma na moving on, jumping onto other issues. And I am mom ni efra ye say embe responde. Without or no, whoever alleges must prove. Until yet the other superior information ba na contradicting or the beto abontia. The best thing is some na apologize publicly. Mobe friend no de na to amana kase meka say NPP aban and Honorable Samuel Abujinapo and the previous lands ministers omaton sasea akwa parks and gardens for asase na momuhwehwemu aba kire say and the former President John Dramani Mahama and omulisi sansase does that hurt. Also for me better na meka bibi na manofom na ukonya evidence bi a kyese na meka na enye saa pepane akumapa me de betena hanti. I should be honorable enough to say oh I think some man when ye monfancheme, but this is the contrary information but you've allowed him to move on. The media has allowed him to move on from that issue. And at the end of the day,
on that specific issue, what should the media have done?
They should have called him back.
After you remember the lands ministry had to respond twice. After the initial allegations, the lands minister responded, and he came back punching holes into the response from the lands minister. And on Namsoma, another response if a lands minister.
Other response and they did contradict the fact to say Abanwe didn't sell parks and gardens asasi. It did not contradict that. It did not. Lease ye ba kope. Ye lease in 1920 or 1960 anyway. It does not matter what kind of application that were requested. So we say what expose and it is based on information. You should have had the information from the genesis. Second response and by empacho money nedin komo. Was saying
no.
Was the lands ministry or moboa. Also on parks and gardens as I say. So at the end of the day, no. I won't allow him to move on from such a conversation. Ochina blowing hot air on another issue. Near Freyaba, and yes, scandal upon scandal. But now, this is a dent on the integrity of the person who wakes up every day and bring a document, send me expose. Because your punchy hole said, no, this thing you didn't investigate, you didn't check the records, and the information here could have been easily accessible.
But based on that, parks and gardens, Diana Kwano, would you, based on that, rubbish all the other ones or the other, including the current one?
Response from Ministry of Lands says, I'm trying to pull it for you. It was not only parks and gardens.
Okay.
It was more than one. The list of they did a chronology, step by step.
Oh, sure, I've read it.
Every allegation.
I've read it. Now, apart from Nsasene Diano, would you rubbish all the other allegations?
Also, he who alleges must prove.
Sure.
Ube alleging ne baako ne esenya no kre. Na on the second issue esenya no kre. On what basis? Ena wo other allegations media tum. Enti eja wo de wo suamra ana we wie mrehia. Enti no there is something that goes to the credibility of the witness and answer the person who make allegations. Into uni musa obeba bra properly. But that notwithstanding, I have said it and said it again. And it's a NDC for nya akwenya besom Ghana for. Oma ntimi amputu a single appointee of President John Adjekumpo for a NPP 1 administration behind bars. And it was not because former President Mahama is a father for all, as he's been claiming during his encounter with the media. It is because all the people that they lined up before the courts, they didn't have any evidence. Either it had to do with Ghana at 50. Say, your former minister Sabiu, and in the they couldn't substantiate it. So it is never true. So Mumunya Kwenya to prosecute and they didn't do it because there is a humanizing posturing of a father for all. It is not true. And Obi Biara or what records from some of these developments from 2009 no say what they are saying is not true.
But would you say as we speak, you don't believe or agree with Obi Obeka said there is corruption in this government?
If you say there is corruption, you have to show cause. On your own, on your head as a citizen of Ghana, obetime the petition akoma CID.
Yes.
Say I say who say boni bi koso a brane beka ananya sa e wasede se Ghana mambapa. Enti de koto ho no manhwehwe mu no mo beye. Ne de akogina mranim. Na atemuafo na otemuafo ye konten kora wakobu asem. Na wontimi meka keke enti osofo ena utu hwe ni onyamfo te se o. Na ma bese o se osabi o ye kromfo ye say without any evidence. Yes, enam se wagidi nti Ghana fo mu awfo ansa na ye di wasem. Enye sa na mra ye adwuma wa ha. And then me responsibility to go and look for evidence for the NDC. Omo allege they should come properly. And I'm rawo ho. Emra no so nya o mampeni na na do dan kwakufu ado. And edam rana no. The judiciary is as independent as they come. As independent as they come. Until at the end of the day no, e ho na do asembeko.
As a ministry, meaning say more research department, you more picky intel from the general Ghanaian public. What do you think is the pulse of the nation, Cecilia? Is the nation in the mood, say, they want change in the next election? Who feels our mood no in the country?
I don't feel that pulse. I feel the nation wants improvements in living conditions. They don't want change in political administration as a Yankofa NDC Mra.
We are sure.
The reality on the ground does not support that. Edi entina make us also full. Obia NDC in this context. Let me start from somewhere. So far, omuti so omususu ya ne se omo pese omo ba besom as mampani ni abedieche ene omo mpo omo abedieche ho ntoma no. Ebi ye independent political parties, movement for change ne cheda ne nkeka.
Yes.
But when momentum edi omo campaigns nechi. The track record of Ghana political dispensation in the past 2 or 3 decades does not support say another third force be a unity. I don't know if you feel that on the ground. I haven't seen that. Ebi a offer omumu bibana they have a conversation on that. I haven't seen it. Now, we are in a situation where we have NPP as a ruling party and NDC as immediate past ruling party. Bringing a candidate waye mampeni da, waye mampeni abedi echreda, waye minister da, waye deputy minister da, waye assemblyman da, waye member of parliament da. In the person of former President John Dramani Mahama. Wakita Ghana to me aswine as mampeni, ewa abra he was one of the most experienced politicians in the country. Positions here amabubo nyina is no mean feat. And the excuse we could have given to other candidates of presidents of being novice no nim no abafofro no nim ne ekoso, that excuse another case cannot be made for the former president. Because he had served in government and politics and had over 30 years experience and sana obey Ghana mampeni. The challenges of the country was known to him. And so enu huechino yeda sumu emfie 9. And no, there was unemployment corona or trumpet say or babeyeno. Until at the end of the day, President Nanu ya or then another for free SHS Ghana for so good nichim. It wasn't even NPP for Eka say Omanpenida that way there yesterday can. Asama Okan yes say you started free SHS and Tronya and an account. Me say the public surprisingly even Omua minim say they have been worse critics of this government. We're saying, say, no kraya bakupe. We shouldn't waste time on a debate for who started free SHS. Ghana ni biya wakano cross sunyame enim se President Nanado Danko Kufuado ene debai. To say free SHS enye slogan, eye policy, sikakom. One so omajani free hu sesia. Because omaka man krofo adwen abesi to say, hey, asema papa ika anya no kure ni ye nyina yie. Say 38 CD no for the progressive free education and free SHS yani ade obetwam. Because the implementation of the policy na any akade any sika na eko. Enti President Kufuado and all the billions of Ghana cedis ashem etima educating about 5.7 million young Ghanaians on the account of government. Enti unye we ba beke kanu ebi na ese ba dia ene emientena ya ware bone ho sa. Ain't that is the posturing. Now, one other issue I critical in recent years has to do with job creation and opportunities for the youth. Neako subi a binity na supermu yen sheye yen to ye prepare. Ain't na to ye dear. Every beer 8 and 10, about bedroom 50 no difference in as much because now inflation ye 1% and I could do 5%. Echese ade ana otono $1 no edru $5 say. Sana na won so de ana e wo 10% akodru 50% no. Echese ade ana otono 1 cedi no akodru 5 cedi. Mpacho what you say? And to cumulatively over percentage increases now. Now we are see afana baby another impact no of international issues like COVID, any freight challenges, cost of container, cost of shipping, delays in supplies, ever globally in Yamana problems wo ho. Ain't no yakam obiate say problem wo ho. Now it is not only domestic challenges. Domestic challenges are at that time Honorable Ken Oforiatta editor Ghana for enim said the Ghanaian economy no has structural problems. As structural problems no aban way and atoto niema pa so obe solve. Ebi ni dien. Ebi ni say digitalize the economy. ebi ni deɛ ebi ni sɛ aban yɛtimi akɔte ama sɛ wotie the honorable finance minister or say as many as 13 vehicle manufacturing companies ɛna abetintim mfidie wɔ Ghana ha sɛ ɔmo assemble wɔ ha ebi ni deɛ ebi ni interventions a yɛde ba with one district one factory and na wokɔ sɛ hwea kontomra ɔmo rice processing factory wokɔ suhuma yɛwɔ tomato processing factory Lavance our products were on the market wokɔ ekumfi a yɛwɔ pineapple processing factory our ɔmo products wokɔ America it is on shelves wobɛnya eku juice atɔ enti no the structural problems with the Ghanaian economy no ɛnu bi ɛne digitalization ɛnu bi ne industrialization under 1D 1F ɛnu bi na mabobo so with planting for food and jobs 2.0 ne interventions aban ne yɛ to make sure say bibia did anakwan so ebetimi a raise and the impact is already showing. So we had the recorded growth for the first quarter of 2024 which is at 4.7%. Is the highest since the second quarter of 2022. Unim say rating agencies international unim say IMF the second review meeting announcement for the third tranche no. Almost Ghana the country representative now okasa for IMF no your friend Stefan Rude also IMF no more projected growth for Ghana for 2024 na 2.8%. Now so mo hwɛ the way a nneɛma si kɔ ma revising upwards to 3.1%. Enye no nko a even rating agencies say S&P ne Fitch mo no mo susu say o Ghana economy say o mo project say e be grow about 4%. So yaje nkwan wie through COVID no economy no bringing it back to life no recovery no mo na ewe. Enti yakasa the context is that yanka say economy ni bibia ye mremremre but what they compare baby a free bar improvement say bam successive nkakra but anytime you do year on year comparison even with the city depreciation January to June 2023 now depreciated by about 21%. This year I depreciated but compare January to June 18%. Enye bebresa but gradually enka wo draw charter enka wo behu say eba form nkakra
even when people are tempted to believe some narrative way any perspective any context how the amount the economy conversation no some would say aban na o pagana for chew say nneɛma yɛ den yɛn nyinaa yɛnya abotrɛ aban yɛ de obetimi bia to bring us back on the road and almost on a daily basis you hear of one corruption scandal or the other. Ain't se Ghana for be crab rebel do more trust in your government with the narrative around corruption. The people in Abambebu